Alright. This is just going to be a recap over a couple of changes within the rulebook. Also, what are some additions before the season begins. Starting off, I did already make it for Season 3, just to kind of get it ready. I have a whole table of contacts going. There's a couple of things I need to update. I mean, code of conduct stays the same. That's no worries. If anything, it just reports to the league president. Starting next season, not this season. Next season, we will have Brandon as the league president. I'm just going to go ahead and announce that already. We have a set pathway for each individual fucking Discord and also in game. In game, it's just the four things. That's all it is. It's basically the same thing that we went over. Infractions, I mean, you know what I mean, suspensions, blah blah, just goes over basics. Players are suspended are exempt from all in-game rules because they have to do all their suspension games. They do count as games played for the week though, so if a player is suspended, let's say 6 games, that's the only 6 games they had that week, meaning they cannot play anymore because it counts as the game that they were supposed to play. um let's see. And then owners, GMs, I mean, that's basically the same thing. Uh, you know, managers or players are not allowed to communicate with other teams' players regarding issues within the league. Basically, if there's a problem with scheduling that we're making or a problem with availability, transactions, blah, 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 you guys cannot start basically rumors because that'll just make the league look bad as a whole. We don't really tolerate that anymore. Last season, I understand it was a dumpster fire, so go ahead. This is going to be active for this season. Director, I'm going to be taking over the reins of the whole organization as a whole, Modern Gaming. I think my sound's clipping right now. All right. Yeah. So I'm taking over as a whole of the operation side. So I'm going to be working more on the website. President is going to be more in charge of the league as itself. So basically, what needs to be changed, media, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be Brandon. I'm still going to be appointing staff and everything. But for example, when I do decide to start moving to other genres of games to start that up, Brandon will be taking over the reins of this. League founder, of course, is still Pugs. That's not changing. He's still going to be basically kind of that second in command, but more staying back, just so, there's really no confusion about anything. The more people in front of the scenes will be me and Brandon. Pugs will just kind of be in the background. We need commissioners. We have moderators right now. We only have 3 of them, though. So we barely have any. Let me just face this out. Management, I mean, everything stays the same. Team schedules must be posted by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday on the team Discords. We're going to be checking that, or Brandon or I are going to be checking that every week to make sure you guys have scheduled games ready, considering we have games Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we prefer seeing all 3, like 3 days being pre-made, just so we have so we know what's going on. You can switch the players after the fact though. So basically, for example, somebody can't show up for this game, you're allowed to switch it. We just want to make sure there's a general games ready to be played. So forfeiting games, that will start resulting in punishment by the league itself. The first forfeit will just be a warning. The second forfeit, team management will have a 1-game suspension on their thing, because at the same time, if you guys are forfeiting games, it looks bad in the league once again, and we're just trying to avoid that at all cost. Let's see. All managers will be warned when a team reaches 3 forfeits. If a team reaches 4 forfeits, management will be eligible by removal by their league commissioner. If you're forfeiting, and it's going to be case by case, especially if it's something to do with just availability. But if it's just people don't want to play for you, or it's just other things because internal issues, that's where we'll step in. I'll be more direct on that. Basically, if players are just not wanting to play because their team sucks, that's on them. I'll just remove those players. But if it's some other internal issues like toxicity or anything, that's where I'll step in. League game setup, establish lobbies, just the basics. You want to make sure you have everything ready for game time. If you're not ready by game time, please call grace at least 5 minutes prior to give teams a heads up that, there's an extra 15 minutes, because other teams also have other stuff they could be doing. Like, if they really want to run another practice, they can. The management is responsible for reporting to league commissioner if a player is inactive, disruptive, or even unresponsive. We only have 3 days played: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then also, falsely reporting inactive players will result in a punishment from league officials at MGHL. If you set a guy on the IR, he is not allowed to play for an exact week that he was put on the IR. So, for example, he was put on the IR on Sunday. He's not allowed to play until starting next Sunday, so next week. If he is playing any game, that will deem a forfeit for those games played, just because if you go on the IR, it means you can't play a single game, and that's the only way you could get out of the 2-game minimum. Minimum games, maximum games is practically the same. Players must play 4 games in the NCAA before being called up. I'm going to, keep that. I think I'm just going to do 4 games. So they have to play 4 games in the minor leagues in order to be called up through waivers in the major league. And then this AHL stuff is what's coming next season. I'll explain more as the season progresses. NHL specific. So basically, by season 4, season 5, I want to be able to operate with full NHL teams and everything. But I want to make sure I get like 24 AHL teams first and 24 fucking, 24 NCAA. I want to start basically building it to where we can just keep building up and, setting down I don't want to say it, but the not so competitive players, because the AHL league and the NHL league will be for money. The NCAA will be basically the free part. So the AHL will be putting, I think we'll just put $750 every season, because it's something small, but at the same time, you know what I mean. It gives a little bit of an incentive. I think for the NHL, we might eventually do up to $2,000 prizes. Of course, meaning it will be full seasons all the time. We're never going to do a short season just because money's on the line. Warning and appeal system. I mean, basically the same thing. I mean, teams with sending infractions will be given up to 4 warnings. Kind of went through that. League admins are required to review appeals from the heads of the MGHL. NCAA specific as well. We don't have a salary cap on there, which is fine. And then we have a maximum of 15 players on our roster, meaning you don't have any minimum or maximum games for that league as a whole. Reschedules. So this is something I'm doing. I'll try to allow. If teams are teams first off are not able to reschedule during games during the regular season play. At the end of the season, there will be a during that Saturday, Sunday, Monday before the preseason begins, you are eligible to make up those games. So, for example, if there was a holiday or something, and then both teams can make it because their players are not able to play, you're able to reschedule those games. That's perfectly fine with me, as long as you guys get it approved with each other first in writing, and sent into job form. Let's see. Lineup changes. So if a lineup changes may be submitted up to within 2 hours before the scheduled game time. If it's past 2 hours and if somebody's saying they can't play anymore, I think I'll punish the player more on that, because that's causing you guys freaking frustration. So I'm gonna be very adamant on that. Teams that do not submit their lineups, once again, risk a chance of forfeiting games of the week. I just don't want any last minute fucking changes. It just makes no sense to do last minute lineups. Player tampering. I mean, this has been a rule, but people have not really understood that. Yeah, if caught player tampering, you are deemed to be removed from the MGHL. Depending on case by case, you know what I mean? It depends on the severity of the case. If you're telling a player to intentionally throw a game to be traded, or you're just making that player play like shit just to get on your team, or that player not to really play, yeah, that's where I'll kind of step in. And of course, I'll need picture proof or something. Expansion draft. So this is another thing. After this season, when new teams get added, Teams are able to protect players now. So you're able to protect up to 4 forwards, 3 defense, and 1 goalie for the draft. GM and AGM are non-protected unless protected by the team. That's why I did 4 forwards and 3 defense instead of just 3 forwards and 2 defense. Meaning you can protect your top line plus 2 players. You can only protect 1 goalie, though. I did want to let that known. And then basically every season, I think I might add 4 expansion teams depending on how many we get. It could even be up to 6. It really just depends on how many players as a whole we have. I mean, right now we're at 650. By the end of the season, I expect around 800. Once again, it goes back into the IR and proper use of IR, blah, blah. Trade window. Trade window is Saturday to Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you basically have like a day, but you can put the trades into job form during the weeks. So for example, if you wanted to have that trade go through on Wednesday, you could like, you know what I mean? Send it on Wednesday, but it won't be accepted until Saturday, Sunday. Trade deadline, week 6. After that, everything's closed. You can't send down players. You may call you won't be able to send down players, but if a player quits, you will be able to call up before playoffs. I'll allow that. Yeah, trades must be confirmed by management in job form, blah blah blah. Rights, just basic stuff about players. Players must play in their position selected when they register. Players may play outside of their selected positions, but only within the category that's selected. Example, if you're playing, if you sign up for a left wing, right D, you can play any forward or any defense position. That's how I have it set. Contracts. This is one thing that's going to be brand new. I'm going to try this out. So this season, what I'm going to do, I'm allowing each team owner, you're allowed to have a 1 to 3 season contract on your player. So for example, once they get drafted, you may ask them, would you like to sign for 1 season or would you like to sign for 3 seasons? If they sign for 3 seasons, they are needing to stay even on the new game. Even when we transfer to the new game, they have to stay or else they risk being banned from the server for not following the rules. So I'm going to try going into the bidding system eventually. Right now, I have everything set. And right now, I kind of want to try the contract to see how I like it. I've personally dealt with LG. A lot of people have potentially said they like that better. Blah blah blah. I've just never really got into it. Let's see. Oh, another thing. So basically, 3 seasons is their max. Meaning, if they sign for 2 seasons, they can extend their contract to only 1 season afterwards. Once they're done their 3 seasons, they will be bid on. So that's where I'm going to try the bidding within 3 seasons, like season 5 is what I said. So yeah, we'll do it around that because that's where I want to get the NHL teams involved and everything, blah, blah. Players that get registered during the season will automatically be assigned to the NCAA where they can be called up after they play their games. But they will be placed under a 2-way contract. This 2-way contract will come in once we get the NHL teams. Don't worry about that right now. It's just once we get NHL teams involved because that means you'll only be able to play 8 games maximum in the end if they came from the NCAA. It's just to stop NHLers from joining and then being automatically thrown up there when a team is not so good. It's just for a future since it's going to be so much money on the line. Buyouts, you can buy out people's contracts as well to send them down. Or my bad, you're going to have to buy out players' contracts if you're trying to send them down. That's just to kind of stop you from switching back and forth. If you'll have to pay 25% of the player's salary. For example, if a player is 500K, I mean, you already know it's just not that much. It's literally only 125,000 that you have to pay. So basically, that just gets subtracted from your total cap. If they're 1 mil, it's 250K that gets taken out. So you just have to be smart about it. Yeah. And then appeals. Players may appeal suspensions and mutes if deemed applicable. I mean, that's obvious. We have a whole system for that. ECUs. So ECU auto assign waivers and free agency. The waiver order is based on standings. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Kind of goes off of most leagues and stuff that do the same singles waivers. Emergency call-ups must be placed in the respective Discord channel, which I'll make soon. Each team may use a maximum of 4 ECUs per week, but teams can only use up to 2 ECUs in one game. Each player may play a maximum of 3 ECU games per season from the NCAA before they get called up. Okay. An illegal use of an ECU will result in a forfeit, meaning if the guy doesn't have, like, for ECUs, they still have to have a minimum of like 2 games played in the NCAA. We're not trying to let somebody that's never played an NCAA game just get thrown into the main league. It's not fair. So they still have to have a minimum of 2 just to show that they're active and not just trying to like abuse the system. Emergency call-ups are allowed at any time, though, of course, even during the playoffs. And then auto-assign, new players are registered will just be auto-assigned to NCAA teams. Free agency is only allowed from the offseason until the regular season game. So basically, and then players with 2-way contracts are allowed to be sent to the AHL after the trade deadline. All NCAA players are automatically given a 2-way contract. So basically, once we get the AHL system and everything, even past the trade deadline, NCAAs are allowed to be called up, but that's it. They're not allowed to be sent down. And that's why they're given 2-way contract, and then they'll get a salary based on it. Because, like I said, right now NCAA has no salary. Gameplay is basically the same. None of that changed. It's just basically same thing. Disconnections, lagouts. That's all talked about in here. AI computer scoring doesn't count if it's based on quitting. Blah blah blah. Game freezes and loops. Infractions, like goalies are not allowed to intentionally trip players coming towards them, no ragging the puck, any glitch that's visible, blah blah blah. It's all case by case. Playoffs. NCAA will consist of a best of 5 series with 8 total teams. That's going to be for this season. And then seeds will just be based off of standings, meaning 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. So everybody in the NCAA makes the playoffs. There's no conference. It's just strictly off standings. And then those game times will be on Thursday. Well, no, my bad. Yeah, they'll be on Wednesday and Thursday. So it'll be 8 p.m., 8:40, 9:20. And then Thursday will be 8 p.m. and 8:40. Because by the time that's done for their series, the NHL or AHL games will start, which will be at 9:10 Thursday, 9:50, 10:30. Friday will be 8:30, 9:10, 9:50, and 10:30, and that's the best of 7 series with the top 8 teams from each conference making the playoffs. Regular seasons apply during the playoffs. Now bans. When players get banned, I am adding it to where they can buy on ban packages because, one, that helps the league keep growing so we could keep adding into our pot. At the end of the day, we don't make any money from this. You guys got to remember, we're putting all the money we get into back into the league as a whole. We're trying to make this the best we can. We're trying to be direct competitors to some of the other leagues that are out there. And right now, we're not trying to focus on LG, considering we're on different days. But we are focusing on all the other ones because OG and all those other leagues are kind of trash. So that's our competitors right now. And with you guys by our side, we should be able to go ahead and surpass them. That's basically it. Stat photos and everything. Just take pictures in respective, league Discord channels. I'll have that ready for you as well. Just have them posted by midnight, or else it results in a forfeit. Because even if you guys don't do it the night of, sometimes I like to go in the MSO and just do it for you guys, just to get them done, so everybody can see exactly where they're at. Now, I do want to say I'm not gonna always do it for you guys, so I expect you guys to be on time and getting these within the 24 hours. That's basically it with the rules. I mean, other than that, MSO. So my stats only is officially like updated now. So we'll have basically for all the owners and stuff, you guys can check out exactly the statistics right now to see exactly what the players were like during this league sanctioned games that we had, so you guys could kind of get an idea. I did not add the passing completion and all that. I started to and I gave up just because a lot of players that sent me the photos did not send me the passes and all that, so I just decided to give up on that. Please take pictures of that as well as plus minus, because if I don't get that, I'm just gonna do this and I'm not gonna care. There's only one team that sent me a plus minus, and I just gave it to him. But yeah, other than that, everything's updated. If you guys want to check that out, website. I'm gonna be adding new things. I'm gonna probably be adding it to where you can check your team. It'll have awards and all that. How many awards have your team won? Blah blah. I'll start setting that up eventually. Right now, I'm just not really focused on the website. I'm more focused on getting the season ready. All right, but I appreciate you all for taking your time and listening. I just wanted to make this short little video for you guys, just so you know what the changes were or what some of the things I updated were. All right, have a good day.